Hey guys, it's Josie Broyles. Welcome back to Fierce in the Field. I am so happy to be back with another episode, and I do just kind of want to shout out the big news that happened in women's sports this week. ESPN just signed a 3-year broadcast deal with Athletes Unlimited, giving coverage for softball, basketball, and volleyball. 50 softball games will be streamed on ABC, including the championship, and every single game for basketball and volleyball will be shown live on ESPN, which just shows that networks are investing time and energy into women's sports, which just gives us more visibility and just, it's amazing. Content that's getting put out with women's sports right now is just always really good to see. Let's talk about my amazing guest that is on this episode. Her name is Ariel Tamir Pinsky. She is also a broadcast student at University of Wisconsin, so we share the Big Ten energy together, which is so great. Ariel and I connected through a mutual friend over social media, and she was a Cape Cod sideline reporter for the Bourne Braves this past summer. I sidelined for Hyannis in summer 2024, and it was just the greatest experience. It really just made me a better reporter, a better storyteller, met the most amazing people, loved everyone that I worked with, everyone on the team. It was just a really great experience. It was really nice to bond with her on that experience because we're both very similar. We have very similar passions and hobbies and things that we want to do. So it was really great to just talk to her, and we really dived deep into the nitty-gritty of the process of the Cape, because you are sideline reporting a baseball game every single day. So that's coming up with different hits for different players, pulling different people for interviews. So we kind of talked about that process and kind of the hardships that come from that, but also how amazing the Cape experience is. So I'm just so excited for you guys to hear this episode, and it's a really great one. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Fierce in the Field. I have Ariel Tamir Pinsky in studio with us today, virtual. She's actually reporting from the Cape because she's over there interning, which is literally just the greatest experience ever. But I'm so happy to have her on. She is just the best guest ever. And if you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. As I said, I'm Ariel Tamir Pinsky. I will be a senior at the University of Wisconsin. I'm studying journalism with a minor in sports communications. I'm originally from the Boston area, so I grew up a big Boston sports fan, and I'm currently interning with the Bourne Braves of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
I didn't realize how close you were. I think I forgot you were from Boston.
Yeah,
have you
I'm
visited
from
home at all, or are you just kind of staying put?
A couple off days I've gone home, like after a game that night I've driven home just so I can like sleep in my own bed or, see my parents.
Yeah, so nice. Okay, and you were just abroad, right?
Yes.
How was abroad?
I was in Barcelona.
Okay.
It was an incredible experience. It was like, I would battled with it a little bit when I was like looking for an internship, because like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be getting like the reps at school, but like I would never take it back. I traveled like almost every weekend. I went with my 2 roommates and best friends from school. And it was incredible. Like, I recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, no, my friend actually also at Wisconsin went to Barcelona abroad, and she just literally described it as the most incredible experience. I feel like I used my semester abroad to go to LA, but if I could have 1 semester added to my college career, I would definitely use that to go to Europe, just because I don't know, it just looks so incredible. But I kind of get what you mean with the whole internship thing, because it's hard, but also it's worth it, because it's only a semester of your life.
No, 100%. And I was fortunate enough to have my internship already locked down in September, so I didn't have to worry about trying to get one while I was abroad. So that was really helpful. But yeah, I mean, Europe was just great because you can visit so many places. Didn't feel like I was just in one place. I got to see a lot of Spain. My family came out. We did a road trip all around Spain. And then I traveled kind of same people, different people every weekend. It was great.
Yeah. No, did you ever stay put, or was it every single weekend you had a planned trip?
A couple weekends we stayed put, especially there was a couple weekends we had people come visit us. Mm-hmm. So then we would stay put. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weekends I was in Barcelona. But we mainly honestly traveled every weekend. Honestly, we felt at the end, we were wait, we didn't even get to go to this place. It was
well, because you can't, it's there's so many different things to see. You could do Italy in 6 months.
Right. Right. No, totally.
Okay. Tell me about specifically what you're doing for the Bourne Braves now. Kind of explain the Cape League a little bit for people that may not know what it is.
Yeah, so the Cape Cod Baseball League is like a summer collegiate league. It's one of the best in the country for collegiate baseball players. I'm specifically working with the Bourne Braves team. So there's 10 teams. I'm the sideline reporter for them. So we have a broadcast where basically we have camera operators, 2 play-by-play guys, producers, whatever. And I'm sideline reporter for that. And then for away games, we do radio broadcasts. So I'm not actually on camera, but it's been amazing. I mean, it's such a great experience to get reps all the time. We do pre and post game shows. I do interviews every day. It's been awesome.
Yeah, we had Destiny Sanchez, who was a sideline reporter for Falmouth 2 years ago on a couple weeks ago. And she it's so funny. I feel like we all had such a similar experience, but we all like it the same amount. Like it just was such a life-changing, a career-changing internship because you're working all the time. Like we kind of talked about before, you're getting so many reps. And you're also adjusting to just doing it every single day. What was it like kind of coming in, you're joining a team of people you don't really know, you're, expected to work with these broadcasters you also don't really know and kind of have that back-to-back chemistry?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous, especially for me. Like, I grew up around Boston, so I knew about the Cape League. I knew I had gone to a game my junior year from this broadcasting program I did. And I saw the sideline reporters and I was like, I want this internship when I'm older. It's almost a dream come true for me, like it is for the players. So I was nervous for sure. I also had just been abroad, so I hadn't gotten a ton of reps recently on air. It'd been a while since I'd done anything, broadcast journalism, whatever. And I was coming in and you get right to it. So it definitely was nerve-wracking, but both the broadcasters are very nice people. I had talked to them a little bit before the season started. One of them I honestly had this weird connection with, so I had contacted him a little bit. And the rest of the media team is just great. I live with 3 other interns, so that was helpful because I got to meet them before and connect with them. So, nervous, but once you kind of get going and get into it, my first week probably was a little rough, but you start to get the hang of it a little bit more. And the chemistry has been good with the broadcasters as well.
Good. No, that's super important. I just remember you get so close to the people that you're working with because you're literally with them 24/7. But that first week hits you like a truck because I don't think, and I'm sure you could say something similar, I've never been that busy in my entire life.
No, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I also work a job, not a lot during, I only do it 2 to 3 times a week, but I also have a job in the morning. So it's I go to that job in the morning, come home, change, get ready, and go straight to the field. And it's feel like you have no time to prep for the game, whatever. It's a lot for sure.
Yeah, no, I was out. Oh my God, I think I did the same thing. I was 3 times a week. I would work at this golf shop, on a golf course. And I would get there at 6, 7 a.m. And then I would stay until 1, Uber home because I didn't have a car. And then, that was a whole thing. That was a whole challenge within itself.
I can't imagine not having a car.
It was pretty rough. It definitely had to save up some money just for my Uber expenses. But a lot of my roommates did have a car, which was good. But I would Uber home at 1 when I would get off. And then quickly throw makeup on, put my hair in a slick back ponytail because that was all the weather would have let me do.
The humidity here,
it's so bad.
I tried to do my hair and it's nope, it's going in a
ponytail. It
ponytail.
just doesn't work. And I always regret trying to straighten it or curl it because it always just looks like a frizzy mess. But I think that's the charm of the Cape, watching your videos back.
Oh, for sure. I know. Yeah. By the end of the game, you're all right, it looks like I didn't get ready at all.
Yeah, no, we're at least for away games, we're reporting in sweatshirts. I find it.
Yes. Oh, same. I know. I've had sweatshirts on. It's just, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. What is your day in the day like? Okay, if you had a day where you had your job in the morning and you had a big game in the afternoon, kind of take me through a day in your life.
Yeah, so if I know I have to work the day before, I try to prep for my game the night before or the day before when I prep for the game that day. So I just run through, try to find some storylines to talk about that day, decide who I want to interview pregame. And then I also work at a golf course, but I don't have to be there till 9. So I usually wake up, I try to work out in the morning, go to my job, which I have from 9 to 2. And then I thankfully it's like literally a 4-minute drive from my house.
Oh,
So
good.
it's so easy. I just, drive home, quickly shower, do my makeup, change. And then I like to get to the field usually earlier than most people do, just because I like the opportunity to try to talk to the players if I can during batting practice or after batting practice, just to, if I have a story I want to do, I like to get quotes from them or whatever. So I'll either carpool with my roommates or we'll drive ourselves depending on when other people want to get there. So usually for 6 o'clock games, I usually get to like a home game around 3:30. And I'll just kind of, open my laptop, figure out the storylines, figure out the questions I want to ask some of the players. And then I also have like a pregame, like actual interview that I'll do on camera. So I figure out who I want to interview, like if they had a good game the night before, or if, the other day, one of our players' brothers was getting drafted. So I interviewed him. Just depends on what's happening that day. And then we film a pregame show. So I like anchor the pregame show. So it's me and our 2 broadcasters, and we just kind of like preview that game or recap the game before. And then I also do it with our beat reporter. So I have our 2 broadcasters on, our beat reporter, and then I have a player interview. So then once I've filmed all that, I edit that and upload it to YouTube. It also goes before the broadcast. So I give it to our producer, and then I post my player interview on Twitter. By that time, it's probably like 5:15. So then I kind of start working on my hits for the game. I try to have 2. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It really depends. It's one of the things I've noticed is really hard about the Cape League is finding storylines, just because you're playing every single day. And there's only so many storylines with one team, since you're not really reporting on the other team that much.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you that question. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to go back all my hits from last summer in my notes. And I want to go back to my hits like towards the end of the summer and just read them, because they're probably like, this guy got a dog this weekend, or he did this with his host family. Like, it's just the silliest things, but I kind of liked it. It was
it's fun. That's like my favorite part also about like sports reporting is like, I don't love the part of like getting on there and talking about the stats and this and that. I'll happily do it. And, but like, if I'm going to talk about someone's stats and whatever, I want to also find something interesting about them as like a person to include. So yeah, that it's tough for sure. There's games where I'll have 1 hit, especially on the radio games. Yeah. I'll have 1 hit because I also prefer to do my better hits at the home games.
I agree.
So then I'll try to like write out my hits, write them in bullets on my notebook, and then the game starts, and I usually do them after the 3rd inning and after the 6th inning. And then after the game, if we win, I do a post-game interview on the broadcast. If we lose, I usually do not. And then we film our post-game show. So it's the same style. It's with my broadcasters and then the beat reporter. And then I also, I'll take the interview from the broadcast and pop that in there. And I edit that usually on my way home or when I get home. And by that time, it's usually like 10, and then I go to bed.
Busy day. Busy afternoon.
Oh, for sure.
Is it YD that has the donut burger?
Yes, I have not done it yet, but we want to do like an on air.
I was just gonna say, I remember like our radio hits were so like funny. Like I remember one of my radio hits was like me, and then we had a second sideline reporter. So it was me and this other guy, Matt, and we would do 2 hits each a game. Obviously, if the game went short or if it was like a radio hit, I think we did like 1 hit each. But for a radio hit, we did like a food review on like a donut burger, and we might have done something else at one other point. But it was like the silliest things when we weren't live on air. Like it was funny.
It starts to just kind of become like, all right, like what should I talk about today? Yeah. But it's fun.
It's fun, and also like I don't think I have a hit of me talking about a stat in my reel. Maybe I should just have it, but it's just like I sound so much more like alive, and like I feel like I come across better on camera when I'm like telling an actual interesting story,
Well, also I feel like that's the play-by-play and color guy's job, is they talk about the stats, they analyze the players. Our job, I feel like, is to find kind of the the humanizing stories for the athletes. Like, what did these guys do on the Cape on their off day? Or, how are they bonding as a team? Whatever it is. I think
Yeah.
that's more the fun stories that like our job is anyway.
I 100% agree. How has it been interacting with the guys on the team? I remember that was a bit of a challenge at first, just walking in there, you're meeting like 30 guys and you're like, hey, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about your life and I need you to respond. I feel like that's a little bit tricky, especially a lot of them like haven't been interviewed like that before, like haven't worked with a sideline reporter or broadcast team. So how has that challenge been for you?
Yeah, so every guy's definitely different. I definitely feel like some guys are like, yeah, sure, like, what's up? And some guys are like, I literally had a guy try to avoid me the other day, and I was like, sorry, you're a star baseball player. Like, if you want to make it to the majors, like, you will have to talk to the media.
I'm
That's
sorry,
kind of
you're so good.
yeah. That's kind of my mindset about it. It's like, it's a development league for you guys in every aspect. Like, if you want to you will have to talk to the media when you're in the majors. You can't avoid them. So that's my mindset. It's definitely, in the beginning, was intimidating, like walking down to the bullpen when they're all like staring at you, walking down to the bullpen with your microphone. And I'm like, hey, Sam, can I talk to you for a sec? And they're like, yeah, sure. It's intimidating. And I like always kind of try to grab them, honestly, when they're not in the dugout or when they're not in the bullpen, like when they're walking somewhere, I try to intercept.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them have been pretty good about like willingly talking to me. I will say, it's hard to get stuff out of them. They're not talkative people.
No.
So that's kind of an issue. Like, they're always willing to talk and answer my questions to the best of their abilities. It's just, sometimes difficult to get them to say something of substance.
Yeah, get them to elaborate. And I think a lot of the times, like, and you kind of touched on this, like, I try not to take it to heart because I also understand that you're new to this as well. And you might be not as, I don't know, used to having a camera in your face all the time. That's not your job. That's not what you do, So I had a guy, oh my God, there was like a couple different things and I can't even remember, but he, I think, hit this huge homer at the end of the game, winning couple of points, and I had to grab him for a post game. And he asked me if I could interview someone else. And I was like, no, like, I don't know if you just saw the game, but I can't interview someone. Like, it was just it's just things like that where I'm like, it's frustrating. But then at the same time, you try to be as like nice and compromising as possible. So it's definitely a challenge.
Well, right. And I try to make them as comfortable as possible. I mean, like, before we do camera interviews, like, I'm like, all right, quickly, this is what I'm going to ask you. I mean, I've sometimes like been like, if you don't have an answer for this, this is a route you could take for this answer, to try to make them comfortable. I know like a lot of them, you can tell which athletes have been media trained and which have not. And some of the ones who haven't been media trained, like, I'll help them, get to that point. And this is a route you could take for this question if you don't have a direct answer for me. And I try to give them, the questions before. Some don't care at all. Some are like, no, let's just do the interview. Like, I'm good. And some want to know, but it is, none of them love doing it. That's for sure. None of them are like, oh, goody, Ariel's coming towards me right now.
Yeah, no, it's none of them. I think I had a couple guys that I would almost like purposely make sure I could interview sometimes because I knew that they were going to give me like just a really great interview. And I think I got lucky. By the end of the summer, most guys were pretty efficient at being interviewed and answering questions. So that was definitely hard. But how has it been working with, your work? How many interns does Bourne have this summer?
We have 40 total, but a lot of those are game day interns, who I don't like interact with that much just because they don't go to away games. On the media side, it's probably like 15 of us, I want to say.
Okay. How has it been working with, that many new faces? You have, I don't know, I remember when I was a sideline reporter, I interacted a lot with the social media and the writers. And like, obviously you're working with your broadcast team, but you also have a ton of other interns to work with who are working different positions. So getting along with people your age, coming from different backgrounds? How has that been?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like I hang out with like our social media and beat reporter interns more just because during the game, I stand behind our dugout during the game just to, try to hear what the players and coaches are saying. It doesn't really work, but I do my best just because I can't be on the field. And so like our social media team like stands there with me. And then so does our beat reporter and our PR director. So I honestly hang out with them like a ton because I hang out with them during away games and home games. Whereas like my broadcast team like is up in the press box or the camera operators around the cameras. So it's been really great having them, also having them as like a resource for me. Like I always with my beat reporter before like post game, I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this question? You think this is a good question to ask? Who are you going to talk to post game so we don't, overlap and talk to the same people? That's been like kind of great. And it's been totally fine. There's been we haven't had any conflicts, which I know like can totally happen with this just because you're seeing everyone like every single day, but I haven't had any issues and it's been like great. Everyone's been so helpful and like willing to help and helping, open to helping each other.
Yeah. What have you guys been doing like outside of baseball on the Cape for fun? Like off days, go to the beach?
Yesterday I went to the beach with our social media assistant and one of the game day interns. It was a lovely day on the beach. And then yesterday, actually, our boss had us all over for an intern dinner as like a thank you. So that was fun. But yeah, the beach, I would say, is the main thing. I will say on my off days, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to like not do anything.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Or sometimes I'll like have my other job, but yeah, we mainly have been going to the beach or going on walks, a lot of walks on the Shine. I don't know where you must have lived in Hyannis.
Yeah.
But I live in Falmouth.
Okay.
So we have the Shining Sea bikeway or bike path. And so I love walking along that because it's right along the water. So that's fun. Going out to dinner, going to get some drinks. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I wasn't on the 21 bus yet when I was on the Cape. So I couldn't go out with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Fortunate for that.
Yeah. Very lucky. How has your other job been with did you tell them like what you're doing this summer and like balancing your schedule out? Because I feel like, at least for me, like I would try to be at the field around 3. Sounds like you would kind of do the same. And that was kind of an awkward time to have to get out of work at 1. And then I know shifts are usually like 9 to 5 or 9 to 3. How did you kind of collaborate with them to make your schedule as smooth as possible?
Yeah, so I don't even think I talked to my Bourne boss about it just because I was like, that's my priority. Like I'm always going to be at the field. So I bev cart at a golf course and it's pretty chill. When I interviewed, I told them like I have an internship with the Braves. I have to be at, it's in the afternoons, but I have to be at the field around 3:30. And he was like, that's totally fine. Like your shifts will be 9 to 2. And then like, obviously you can leave earlier. If it's really busy, you can stay later. If it's not, you can leave earlier. So I am lucky enough to have a job where it's kind of like up to my own discretion. Like my shift is from 9 to 2, but depending on how busy the course is, like I can kind of leave anywhere around that time.
Okay.
So it's been pretty easy for me. I also work like 2-3 times a week, so it's not like a ton. And sometimes it happens to land on an off day as well, which makes it really nice.
Yeah. I should have done bev cart. I worked in like the pro shop, so I was checking people in for tea times, which was fine. It was a super easy and like adaptable job to learn, but I was inside all day. I just kind of sat at a desk, which I would honestly write hits a lot of the times I was at that desk. But I remember like I would see the bev cart girls or caddies and I'd be like, oh, that might have been a better idea just to pass the time a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I will say the time passes incredibly quickly. Like I've never had a job that passes that quickly. And like I worked in like a boutique, I've worked, and it like, I felt like the days, were just so slow. And this one, like, I'm like, I get there at 9 and halfway through, I'm like, oh my God, it's already won. Like I only
Yeah.
have like one more loop or whatever. But I will say the being able to kind of do your other work at your job, pretty nice, because I do not have that.
Like I honestly, it could be the fact if I were to actually have been a Bev Cart girl, I might have been like, oh, I wish I was in the pro shop, so I was sitting at the desk all day. So you never know. Grass is always greener, but that definitely was a plus, especially because I need to be like, I'm so neurotic about my notes. And if I'm not prepared like so much before a game, then I will literally freak out.
I know. It's sometimes I like for radio, I'm a little bit more low key about it because I read off my laptop.
Yeah.
I write a script. But yes, for sure. For home games, I'm like, I like to be prepped before just so I already am like running it through my head so that like when I'm on camera, it's a little bit smoother.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit and kind of go back to the very beginning. And I mean, like senior year of high school, you're trying to decide where to go to college. You're trying to decide what you want to study. Kind of walk me through that process and how that was like for you choosing a school and choosing what you want to study.
Okay, so I would say like sophomore year, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like not a clue. I knew I grew up playing sports and I grew up in a huge sports fan household. Both my brother and dad are like massive sports fans. So there's always sports on. My dad owns a gym and is a personal trainer. And I've always loved fitness. So kind of junior year, I was kind of like into the like kinesiology track and was like, oh, like could be an athletic trainer. Like I kind of always wanted to be in like the sports industry.
Okay.
And then junior year, I started working with a college counselor. And she was like, you need to pick a major and have academic interest with that. So like you need to pick a track and then like show your interest with that. So like do something for that in high school. And I was like, oh, okay. So I would like talked a lot about with my parents. I really did love fitness and not science and math. And when you look at the kinesiology major, it's like, I mean, you're getting a Bachelor of Science. It's just not. I was like, I can't do that.
Right.
So my mom I went to like arts, like I went to a private middle school that like was really centered in arts. And so I had to be in a play every year. And my mom was always like, Ariel, you were always so great on stage. Like everyone always used to say that you loved being on stage. I was also a dancer in middle school. So like used to kind of performing. And she was like, you like that? You like sports? Like, what about doing something within sports media or sports journalism? Like you like to write. So I kind of just like, she like said that. I can't remember the exact conversation we had, but I remember like she'll still take credit from to this day being like, I got you into this. And like, she's not a sports fan. And so she's always like, I can't believe I did this. Now all you guys do is watch sports. But she like we had some weird conversation like that. And I was like, oh, okay, like that could be interesting. So I started looking into things. And then I took this to my college counselor and she was like, okay, you need to do something with this now. So I did this. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I did this junior year, like this sports broadcasting camp or program at Dean College, which is in like Southern Mass.
We had a ton of interns that went to Dean College.
Okay, yeah.
That's
like they have like a weirdly big broadcasting program there.
Okay.
So I did like a summer program there. It was like 2 weeks. That's how I met Emma Ryan, by the way.
Oh, so she also did that program.
She also did that program.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
So I did that. And like after that program, I was like, yeah, so I'm never doing play-by-play ever. I absolutely hated it. And like you had to do it at that program. And I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done. So we did this like sports update style thing with a teleprompter. And I like loved it. I was like, oh my God, that was so much fun. And so I kind of like got more into it. And then she like sent me this sports writing competition that I should enter. And it was called the Will McDonough Sports Writing Competition. I wrote an article for that. I was in the car with my dad. They like called me, never thought I would win. They were like, hi, you've won the Will. I was like, what is happening right now? I was like, this is so random. So then I like started applying to schools. I always I grew up a big Michigan fan. My dad's a huge Michigan fan. Both my parents are from Michigan. Really wanted to go to Michigan. That was like the dream for me. But I applied to like I wanted like a big rah football school. That was always what I wanted. So it was like I applied to a bunch of Big Ten schools. I actually didn't apply to Indiana, but like Wisconsin, Penn State, Northwestern, Michigan, Maryland. I applied to Syracuse. So I applied to a bunch of those schools, and then I didn't end up getting into Michigan. I got into Wisconsin, Syracuse. Well, I got into some other schools, but I ended up deciding between Wisconsin, Syracuse, and Maryland.
Okay.
And my parents were like, Ariel, like if this is really what you want to do, the school to go to is Syracuse. Right. I mean, I got into Newhouse. That is what everyone
That's what everyone does. Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Cape League, all of our interns are from
Syracuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like didn't want to go to Syracuse. I like had it in my brain. Like I knew academically it would be great for me, but I was like for some other reason, like I like didn't want to go there. It was also more expensive than Wisconsin. And I was still at the point where I was like, this seems like what I want to do, but I don't know if I want to commit to it that much to have my parents spend that much money on school. And Maryland also has also a great journalism program, but I wasn't really looking at it that much. I don't know why. It kind of ended up being between Wisconsin and Syracuse because Wisconsin was always kind of like my second choice to Michigan.
Okay.
So I went to my parents and I was like, listen, like, I don't really want to go to Syracuse. I would like to go to Wisconsin. So I decided to go to Wisconsin. And they were like, that's fine. But just so you know, like Syracuse would have given you the opportunities to be on air, to get the reps. You are going to have to find those opportunities yourself at Wisconsin. And I was like, that's fine. I'm prepared to do that. So that's how I chose going to Wisconsin. And that's kind of how I got into that. Like, I remember we had like orientation weekend over the summer. I went with my dad. First thing I did is I found the sports comm advisor, talked to him. He was like, these are the internships, or these are like the athletic jobs we offer. Video production was one of them. Emailed that guy literally that summer, interviewed for a position in video production before I even started at Wisconsin.
Oh, awesome.
And got that job, which also overlaps, which I know you do also with the Big Ten Plus network. It's like the same job for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you work with like the video board, video production. It also like you're also employed with Big Ten Plus. So you can do those productions as well. So I like had that job before even going into freshman year. And that's kind of what jump started that. And then I started, writing for the Badger Herald, which is the sports section of the Badger Herald, which is our newspaper, and trying to find just any opportunities on campus. Association for Women in Sports Media. I don't know if you guys have that at Indiana.
We have something similar. We have like a Women in Media.
Yeah. So I like joined that club, and that's kind of been the path.
Yeah. Did they immediately put you on air as a sideline when you joined that internship, or did you kind of have to work your way up?
So that's like a whole nother thing. So we didn't have sideline.
I was going to ask, because USC joined BTSU this year, obviously, and only have play-by-play in color. They didn't do a sideline.
Yeah. So I've heard that we had it before COVID. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard. Then once I got there, we did not have sideline at all. We only had play-by-play in color, and then like, the production positions. And I worked in the production position.
Yeah.
Positions. But me and then two other girls were like, we want sideline. We started bugging our boss, like, how can we get sideline reporting here at Wisconsin? And freshman and sophomore year, kind of like nothing really happened. Finally, we got an email, I think at the end of our sophomore year, like, we're really trying to make it happen for you guys for next year. Like, can you please like put together a whole Google Doc on resources, what we would need for it, what you guys would want to do with it, all the stuff. So during that summer, me and two other girls who really wanted to do it, put together this whole Google Doc, sent it to our boss, and we finally got it up and running in the fall of my junior year. So I really only had one semester of doing sideline reporting before going abroad.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it was great, but yeah, we didn't even have it. It was like something that like me and 2 other girls who also really wanted to do started it.
Good for you guys. Like seriously good for you, because I think I would be nervous going into a situation like that. So it was good that you had to advocate for yourself that way.
For sure.
How do you remember the first sport that you sidelined for?
Yes, it was women's volleyball, which is like a big deal out Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So I was nervous. I was so nervous for my first game. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was like, God, I was gonna die and like run away. Yeah.
Yeah. And we weren't even doing interviews. So that was one of the things, is interviews kind of came halfway through the semester. It was really just, we were doing in-game hits. We have no IFB. I don't know if you guys have an IFB at Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an IFB. So it was like, we had like a sideline assistant with us. So that was one of the positions that they added. It was like sideline and sideline assist, and you were with her and she would, you know, cue you from the producer. And so I had like 3 hits for the volleyball game. I can't remember what they were on, but I was like so nervous. I had written them all out. I had practiced them.
Yeah, memorized them like a script.
Yes, memorized them like a script, which I try not to do anymore.
Same.
And but it, you know, went great. Although I sent the clips to like, you know, my family, and they were like, I can tell you're so nervous. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I was also supposed to do women's volleyball for my first sideline, but my background check couldn't go through. Because I don't know, something happened. I think the process just started too late or something, and I just couldn't get all the receipts.
Yeah.
So I remember like prepping for this volleyball game against, I don't remember who they were playing, but prepping for this volleyball game, talked to the other broadcasters, and then like a day or so before, I was like, you can't do it because you can't work because you don't have your background check. So I ended up doing women's soccer, which was the sport that I was covering for like our IU student television station. But I was still so nervous. Like I knew the basic in and outs of this team. Like I've been watching them play for the past 2 years, and I'm still standing there like I've never seen a soccer game in my entire life because my nerves were so bad.
Yeah. I know. It's like, I mean, I get nervous every time, not that nervous, but you know, I feel like I like black out a little bit every time I go on camera.
I think the Cape was definitely good practice.
Yeah.
I think it just made me a little bit more like relaxed. Like, you know what? These are your hits. You prepared, and you're going to trust yourself and trust your prep. But I definitely still get nervous for BTSU. It's just something different about it that just makes me, no matter how many times I do it, I'm going to be a little bit anxious.
Oh, for sure. And I think one thing about the Cape too that's been great is like, okay, even if you mess up this hit today, it's like you have 2 more tomorrow that you can ace, you know?
Yes.
Whereas with student U, it's like you don't always have that. I had a game maybe once a week if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know how many games you guys get, but like there's so many people that want to do it, and
maybe 2-3 a semester. So if we mess up, it's like, damn.
Right. Yeah. You really want to like ace it because it's like your one and only chance.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, how do you handle the pressures of, you know, you're going out there, you know, the cameras are on you, you know, you're live, you're still a student learning, but you're on Big Ten Plus, and that you kind of have to own that fact and kind of relax yourself and really prepare. How do you kind of handle that?
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing for sure is like reminding myself that it's live, but it's not, you're not on broadcast television. It's a streaming service, and like, you know, parents of the players are watching, and my parents are watching, and as if I'm performing it to my dad, kind of thing. And then I also just, for like memorizing my hits, I really try not to memorize. I try to think about them in bullet points. And as I'm talking, just, you know, again, like picture my dad in front of me, like I'm talking to him type of thing.
Yeah.
There's not really one right answer. It's hard, just, you know, like what you said, like trust that you know what you want to say and that you've done the prep for it. And like you have them bulleted. I have it bulleted out in my head, and this is the point I want to hit. And I'm already thinking in my head while I'm talking about the first point, the next point, and just continuing.
Yeah, you explained that exactly. I'm like, because you're kind of, you know exactly what you're going to say after You
Right.
can't, I'm not even listening to the words coming out of my mouth because I'm like listening to my head.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about, we both interned for Fox Sports. I know we did things a little bit differently, but talk to me a little bit about that process. Did you do was it a semester in LA program, or how did that work? Kind of coordinating that with Wisconsin.
So it was a summer internship. So last summer, I have been fortunate enough to shadow Jenny Taft, who's does the big
Love
noon
her.
games.
Yes.
She's amazing. The big noon games on Fox. So I've shadowed her twice. I shadowed her one game at Michigan and then one game at Wisconsin. And she was nice enough to put in a word with human HR. And I mean, I applied for it after my sophomore year, and I had asked her if she had any connections for me, and she said, let me send your resume to HR. And so I literally applied in like October. The application closed in February, and I still hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, they took a while for me too.
Yeah, I still hadn't heard anything. I mean, I had applied to a bunch of other internships, and I hadn't heard really anything from anyone. And then it was getting to be like March and April, and I was stressed. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have an internship. My parents were like, all right, it's fine if you don't have an internship this summer. Like, everything will be okay. And then, like, I think it was like mid-April, I like got an email from Fox about setting up an interview. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so I interviewed with them, and then like a couple days later it was for a digital production internship, which I like literally did not know what that meant. I was like, I don't really know what this is. I tried to look it up, like couldn't find anything. So I was like nervous going into the interview because I was like, I don't really even know what this position is for. And then I had the interview. The interview was great. She was awesome. And then a couple days later, they emailed me that I got it. I was so excited. And for me, it was really easy because my aunt lives in LA. So I didn't have to work. Like, it was okay that I got it late because I was just going to live with her, and she knew that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I got it. I obviously accepted. And then I flew out there. I mean, I went home first, flew out there in the end of May before it started with my mom. And yeah, we rented my aunt a car, and then I used her car so that it wasn't too expensive to rent me a car. But it was such an incredible experience. I mean, that company, I loved it so much. Fox Sports, it was like a great community. My team was amazing. Everyone was so close and welcoming and helpful. So I worked specifically on the digital shows so we were covering the Copa and Euros Cup soccer tournaments last summer, and we were doing like the digital shows. So they were like pre and post game shows for the games that were like, I think they were streamed on like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram maybe.
Okay.
And I was basically a production assistant. So I, did a lot of food. I did do a lot of food runs. I went and got food, were you on the lot when you were there?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So I did a lot of going down to the lot and picking up food and bringing it back up. But I also got to do a lot of like, I shadowed in the control room a lot. I helped with like bringing props out onto the stage. I did the lighting a couple of times. That was really fun. When they were blocking the shows, I sat in as talent, which was kind of a fun experience for me to be on that set. And then we also, so like during that, my team also like does the podcast shows for Fox Sports, like the Skip Bayless show. I forget the other one that I worked on, but I would mic up those talent. So like I would go down, mic up the talent for that, make sure that the show was running well, and then go back up. And then when they were done, I'd go get the mic. So that was kind of also one of my responsibilities, is because we were so focused on soccer during that time. Like the other shows were put on the back burner. So like I was someone that like would go down and mic up the talent, and then they would run the show, and then I would come back down and de-set.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
No, I literally tell everyone that when I walked into Fox Sports for the first time, first of all, I was so nervous
Yeah.
because that was like for me, I did a semester. So we have like a semester in LA program. IU houses you and kind of helps you prepare your resume and, your applications, whatever you need to prepare to apply to jobs. But then you're on your own for your internship search. But Fox Sports was like my number one internship and I was able to get it, but it was a lot of work and I was so nervous. And it was like all I wanted to do when I was out in LA was work for Fox Sports. And I was able to do that. But when I walked into the building, I was so nervous. Like literally, I was like, this is my first impression, like my one chance. But everyone could not have been nicer and more welcoming. And just I don't know exactly how to put it, but just everyone calmed my nerves. Like I think one of my bosses was like, I know everyone might feel nervous, but like, please don't feel nervous around me. Like, I'm here to help you guys. Like, I don't want anyone to feel sad or scared or I don't know. It's just very reassuring and understanding of how we might be feeling. And they knew we were also in the middle of the school year, which was super helpful because I also had like assignments and other things that I was doing outside of the internship. So I don't know, just very understanding and kind people. And I literally could not have asked for a better experience with them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think one of the things too about our industry is like we're working in media, so it tends to be younger people too, just because that's the demographic for working in media, which is always helpful. It kind of always eases my nerves when I walk in and like, okay, like I think my boss at Fox Sports was like 25, and I was like, and she was also a woman, which I
what was your boss's name?
Erin Schechter.
Oh, I don't think I know her.
Yeah, she was in the digital team, but yeah, like that I kind of always, it eases my nerves too when I see that they're a bit younger. She was also a woman, which I think is always so helpful to have in the sports industry, which was great. Actually, at Fox Sports, it was I don't think it was 50-50, but there was a lot of women on my team, which was always felt nice.
Yeah, the support was nice because I think we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you know what you're walking into, like as especially a younger woman and trying to pursue a career in sports. We had 2 guys on our intern team and I think like 3 or 4 girls. So it was just like a good mix of people, and the other employees that I met while I was on the lot were also a good diverse mix of people that kind of work different jobs, different year in the professional world. I know I met a ton of like younger employees and like some older employees that were been there for a while. So I don't know, it's just a really very welcoming environment. My experience was great with them.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that I got the experience of like working at a big company like that for a summer. It was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know. I guess I assumed that you went like with Wisconsin. You did like a program, like a housing program with them. I didn't know you just went out to LA.
I just lived with my aunt. Yeah, and it was just like a summer internship. I don't even know if Wisconsin does something like that, to be honest. I know they do like in DC for like our poli-sci majors.
We have that too, I think. Like the DC thing. Yeah.
But I don't even know if they do something like that for anyone else.
Yeah. Did you know anyone out in LA besides your aunt, or was it just like you two?
I mean, she has a husband and my cousin.
Right.
But that was and there honestly, so actually my friend, there were a couple other Wisconsin people doing the internship on your team. You were broadcast and talent development
like production and talent
development. Yeah. They were on that team, which I didn't interact with them much. I would see them around the building and whatever. And that was always nice. They're both in the J school with me at Wisconsin. So I kind of knew them, but they were living in Newport, which is so far.
So far, but so nice for a summer.
Very nice.
So fun.
Yeah. I mean, they're from there. So,
yeah.
So they it wasn't like housing for them, but I didn't ever really see them or interact with them. And there was like a couple other interns on my team, but not a lot. I became friendly with them, but it definitely so different to my experience with the Cape, where it's like all interns, I feel like all the time. This was like not really that. But honestly, I kind of loved it. I worked, it was like a full-time job for me. It wasn't like the semester internships, which I think are like only a couple days a week, right?
Yeah, because ours was remote technically. So we had a couple interns who were in person out in LA, and then we had a couple interns who were fully online. So they were fully depending on like Zoom calls, and we'd go out. We covered IndyCar and NASCAR. So
Okay, cool.
we had a couple interns in like Georgia and Florida who, if there was a race down there, they would be able to go and work that race, but it's not like they could have gone to the office. But for me and this other girl, Reese, who were on site, we kind of could pick and choose if we wanted to come into the office. So I think I came in like twice a week. Reese might have come in like once or twice a week as well, but we were on different days. So it was just, they also knew we were in school. So I think we had a little bit of a different guideline there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, it was like a full-time thing. I mean, the hours wasn't 9 to 5 because we were working these soccer tournaments. So it all depended on when the soccer games were. And of course, with the time change in Europe and whatever, it was sometimes really wacky hours. I think I had like a call time at 3 a.m. one time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
that's crazy.
I know. But so it wasn't always like super regular hours, but it was like full time. So there were days where I even got overtime. I was at the office a lot. So it was like I was working all the time, so I didn't really know anyone. But then I was like on my I loved like going to the beach by myself, listening to my book, like because my aunt lives like a mile from a beach, so I could walk. I would get a smoothie on the way home. Like it was awesome. Like I kind of loved that for myself.
Oh, I am like a big advocate on like doing things by yourself.
Me too.
Living by yourself, moving somewhere by yourself. Like that sounds like my dream, like to be in LA, just kind of on your own, tunnel vision, like you're working your job at like one of your dream companies and you're just kind of on your, that's like a great
100%. I know. And my roommate came and visited me for the weekend. One weekend we had like the best weekend, but it was like, I loved it. I was like so zen.
Yes. You're like in your element. I need to like readjust to Bloomington, Indiana when I go back. Because I went from like LA and I live in downtown Chicago. So I'm going from like city to city. And now I'm going to be like college town again in August.
Right.
So
I know.
That'll be a little bit of a jump, but
I know. I'm excited to be back though, to be honest.
But obviously Fierce in the Field focuses on women in the industry and experiences. And obviously we've had some great times. There's also a lot of challenges and struggles that come from that. So for you as a college student, what's been one thing, either a challenge for you that you've experienced in your J school or at Wisconsin in general, being on camera, posting on Twitter all the time? It's definitely something that comes with a lot of, hurdles.
Yeah, I think one of the main things is definitely as like a student at college, like when I'm reaching out to not even necessarily for Big Ten or the newspaper, but like even for classes when I have to write articles or do stories, like reaching out, I always try to take a sports angle because that's what I want to do. And it's, usually up to me what I want to write about. Reaching out to coaches or players or our SIDs and like asking for interviews and then like not taking me seriously because I'm a student and it's not for an actual published article or package.
Yeah.
So I think that's been like one of my hardest struggles. I remember in this one class, I wanted to do a piece on one of our basketball players. And I tried to get in touch with our SID multiple times to set up an interview. And she just kind of kept like elongating it. And like I had a deadline for this assignment. So I literally had to like reverse and like do a completely different thing. Cause like she would not set up this interview. And I feel like if it was for a professional, for an actual publication, like it wouldn't have been that way. So I definitely think that's been one of the hardest things. And then I think in terms of the Cape, I think one of the hardest things as a woman specifically is like sometimes the players don't necessarily take you seriously and they think you're wanting to work for the team for different reasons.
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, not all of them, of course, most of them are great, but I definitely do think sometimes I get that from the players where they don't take you seriously because you're a woman.
Yeah. I think a lot of the times it's like, I don't know if this is hard to explain because especially when you're on the Cape, you're like, don't you watch broadcasts? Don't you watch baseball games? Don't you know like what we're doing? But it's like, you would just think that they would understand, but when they actually meet you in person and then you can tell that they don't take you seriously, it's like, it's kind of a punch in the gut, definitely when you first do it. But then you also have to remind yourself, like we were talking about, like, okay, they're also just starting out. They're also getting used to this. We're all young in our 20s. Like it's you kind of have to give them grace, but then at the same time it's tough.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I feel like I've literally asked to talk to some guys and like it's not on camera and they're like, oh, this isn't on camera. And I'm like, no. And they're like, so what's it for? And I'm like, oh, like do some stuff on the broadcast. Like I just, it's for the broadcast.
I
And
to
they're
ask
like,
a couple questions. They don't
yeah.
get it.
And they're like, well, why isn't it on camera? And I'm like, because I don't need to talk to you on camera. Like I'm not just talking to you to talk to you. Like this is for something. Like
sometimes it got real awkward and I had to like, because that would happen to me where I would be like coming in with my phone and my notes app or a notebook or whatever and be like, hey, can I just ask you a couple questions about like your day yesterday or this and that? And they see me looking like a little, reporter with all my stuff and they're like super awkward about it.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I literally remember walking to the bullpen and like talking to these guys like I was friends with them. Like I was like, oh, so what'd you do last night with your host family? How'd you feel about the game yesterday? Because it's like, if I come in, which is sad, this is not okay. But if I come in and I'm like, I need to ask you questions for the broadcast, they don't respond to me. And that was so frustrating. Like it was so odd.
Well, yeah, I know. It's so funny. I had one of our players. He's awesome. He's so nice, but he hates interviews. He hates them on camera. And like he'll always do them if I really ask him and I'll prep him for him, whatever. But like he really doesn't like to do them. And he knows I know that and whatever. So like I always, of course, am gonna try to avoid him. But like, of course, if he has a good game, like it is what it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the other day I wanted to ask him, our pitching coach like has the pitcher's journal before every game. So I was doing a story on that and I wanted to ask him about it because he's a pitcher and I happened to be passing him. And so I was like, oh, Will. And I like had my recorder out, like on like Otter on my phone. Yeah. And he was like, oh God, what? And I was like, can I just ask you a couple questions? He was like, no. And I'm like, it's not on camera. Like we're just having a conversation. He's like, then what's with your phone? And I was like, well, I'm recording it, but like, you can say whatever you want. Like the recording isn't going anywhere. And he was like, all right. And he like all of a sudden tensed up. And I'm like, we're just having a conversation. Like pretend my phone's not
I'm
there.
just going to put this to my ear and try to pull some things.
I know. No one's going to hear it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think most of the time, luckily, when I did that, because I would talk to our pitching coach a lot. He was, oh my God, he's like the sweetest man ever. He's like this old man, but I would go in with my phone recording him. And I don't think half the time he knew I was ever.
Yeah. Half the time they don't know.
No.
Like I probably could have made it so he didn't even know. But like the minute I stepped towards him and asked him like an actual, because we had literally just been talking outside of the field too about like something so random. He was just like shooting the shit. And then all of a sudden I like walked up to him and he was like, oh, and I was like, it's okay. Like
I'm not a monster. I don't bite. Like I just want to ask you a question. Like God forbid.
I know. It's so funny.
What about working with mostly men at your school? Because I think a lot of the times you're working with not only like male play-by-play broadcasters for BTSU, but like for me at least, I feel like I'm surrounded by like a lot of guys in our student television club and just a lot of guys in my classes, and you like they're all great, but at the same time it's like you need to kind of adapt and like learn how to work with them and learn how to advocate for yourself and kind of learn how to use your own voice, because especially when I was a freshman and a sophomore, a lot of the time my voice would kind of just float right away, especially for things like, oh, I think we should do this, and they'd be like, no, you should do this, and I'd listen to them because I didn't know how to like stand up for myself. So how do you handle that at Wisconsin?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's obviously a male dominated field. I think for our specific path, like sideline reporting, I don't necessarily think it's super male dominated, but of course the entire industry is. So I do work with a lot of guys, and obviously the athletes. I mean, I work for women's sports too, but a lot of time, I mean, the athletes are also males. I have like a great support system at Wisconsin. Like there's a group of us who have band together. It's the same girls that kind of started the sideline reporting with me. And so I kind of feel like I have a good bond with the other women in the industry who also work the same jobs I do. And so that's been really helpful to kind of be able to advocate for ourselves for things we want to do. I will say too. I think the guys at Wisconsin have been super supportive just because Wisconsin's not a huge broadcast journalism school. Like, we don't have a television station, unfortunately. I would love it if there was, but so I don't have that. And I think because of that, it feels like kind of everyone's fighting for a spot. And so that the guys don't necessarily feel like they deserve it more or think they're better, just because like we're all kind of like gritty trying to make it work at Wisconsin because we're not, a Syracuse or an Indiana or a Maryland type of school.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I didn't think about, not having as big of a program. So you're kind of all fighting for a spot in the same direction, which is, I'm assuming, your Big Ten stuff, correct?
Right. Yeah. I know there's always a lot of chatter about like, you got that game. Oh, I wanted that game. Or, how many games did you get? Oh, does it seem equal? And I will say our producer does a great job of distributing. We do have some girls who do play-by-play in color, and he does a great job distributing, who gets what and how many games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I think, looking forward, what's something that you hope to see, not just at Wisconsin, but with females in the industry in general?
That's a great question.
You can think about this. I can always.
I mean, I think one of the fun things about Wisconsin, at least, is that we have had like all female broadcasts before. Actually, our play-by-plays have never been all female, I guess. But like the production room, I've been in the Big Ten production room, and it's been like an all female production room. And like that is just like so inspiring to me within sports. And I think like the fact that, Wisconsin does that is like great. There's a day we do an all-female broadcast. It's probably in March. But yeah, so like that's kind of awesome. But like sometimes it just ends up being an all-female production room, which is great. And I think I was talking with my boss at the Cape League, and she was like, I love having females. Obviously, we have a lot of females this year as interns, but she was like, my goal one day is to have a female play-by-play broadcaster.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, good luck with that. I do not know many girls who like, they'll do it, but like it's not something that they're really ever wanting to do.
It's not their niche. It's not.
Yeah. It's not their long-term. Like, I hate it to be like, I won't do it.
Yeah.
So like, I understand, but I think that would be really cool at some point. Is like, I do think that is like so male to have like a female play-by-play, and for any sport would be really cool to see.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of women who've done play-by-play, a lot of the time, there's a handful of them who specialize in it and are like making that their career, which is awesome. But I've also spoken to a lot of females in the industry that have been like, I tried it and I was terrified. Because when you're in that, it's not necessarily because you think you're not going to do a good job, but it's because you feel like you have so many voices and people listening to you. And if you say one thing that could be slightly incorrect, you'll get like destroyed online, which sucks.
No, for sure. I mean, especially because as a woman, if you say something wrong, then like
it's even worse.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but I'm sure guys say the wrong things all the time by accident.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think everyone says the wrong thing all the time by accident. No one's like 100% perfect, especially when they're under the pressure of being on live TV and calling a live game. But I think it's just because it's something so unfamiliar for audiences to see a woman in that role. You're more skeptical of it. You're listening a little bit closer.
Right. Even like going off that, I feel like if I said something wrong as a sideline reporter, like yeah, maybe I'd take a little heat, but not as much as if a woman said something wrong as a play-by-play. Yeah.
It's interesting because I've said things incorrectly in broadcast, and oh my God, I said something. I can't remember specifically what it was, but it was someone was from somewhere and I said another country instead of the correct one, which is not good. Like I messed up my head. But I got called out on Twitter for it. And I remember seeing that for the first time and I went, damn. And I made the littlest, tiniest mistake because I didn't even think that I did it in my head until someone called it out. So it's just, you never even know.
I know. That's like, you don't. I mean, I'm sure I have said the wrong thing. In fact, I know I have because people have pointed it out to me.
Yeah. Or the wrong lingo or something.
I know.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know something, it's like, oh my God, you don't know that. It's like, no, sorry. I didn't know this little itty bitty thing about baseball. My bad.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the future, we're all just kind of trying to prepare as much as we can, do the best we can, and we just kind of have to. I honestly, Ariel, think you should try to do a play-by-play. Just for the heck of it. I think you should. I think I should.
Maybe an inning. Maybe I'll ask one of our broadcasters if he'll let me do half an inning.
Okay, do it on the Cape because I told my broadcasters I didn't want to do it last summer. And I kind of regret it because I was so scared. I was like,
did they offer it?
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember if it was play-by-play or color, but they were like so chill about it too. They were like, do you want to like hop on? Like just like so like not a doubt in their mind that I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, I know.
Which was so sweet, but I was like, no.
I know because I remember doing it in that program in high school and I was like, never again. Never again. I don't even want to find the recording of that.
Oh my God. It's probably not even as bad as you think.
I don't know, but it was not my cup of tea.
Well, kind of starting to wrap things up. I appreciate you for chatting here for over an hour at this point. But I do ask one last question. It's what makes you fierce in your field and the career that you're pursuing today?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is just like not being afraid to ask, whether that's for an interview, whether that's for a connection for a job, whether it's making your own connection, advocating. I think that's kind of my thing is I'm always willing to ask, even if, the answer sometimes no, but more often than not, it's gotten me a lot of opportunities. So that's usually my route.
Yeah. Just ask. And if it's no, then it's no. And you try again.
Exactly. That's the worst that can happen is they either don't answer or they say no.
Yeah. And you'll move on.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Seriously, this has been so great. I feel like we have very similar paths and have had similar experiences. So it was definitely fun chatting. If you want to shout out your socials so people can follow you.
Okay. Thank you for having me. First of all, I am Ariel.Pinsky on Instagram and Ariel Pinsky on X, which I don't ever use, to be honest.
Amazing.
On TikTok, I'm Ariel Tamir Pinsky, I think.
Yes. I also don't use X. I just talked about this the other day with Vanessa, who was on, but I am so bad.
I'm so bad at it. I mean, I will say this summer, because I post all my interviews on X, I'll go repost them. But that's the extent
we use X for our beat reporting. So if we're covering a sport, so I'm covering men's basketball next fall, winter. So I'll use X to post those things, but that'll probably be my revamp of my account on X, which is literally, I need to get back on it. Because I feel like everything's there.
Well,
so
everyone uses it.
But I also feel like there's so much hate and negativity on it, and I'm scared of it slightly.
Yeah. I know. It's a scary app.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Make sure to follow Ariel on all of her socials, and make sure to catch a Bourne Braves broadcast or a Cape League broadcast in general, because they're definitely worth your time and super awesome and an awesome league to support this summer. So I will see you guys next week.